The house sat at the end of Briar Hollow Road like a held breath. Paint peeled in long, pale curls. Windows stared back, blind and patient. Officer Eli Mercer had driven past it for years without ever stopping. Everyone did. No mail. No lights. No footsteps in the snow. 10 years untouched, they said. Tonight, his K9, Ash, stopped dead in the road and lowered his head, hackles lifting as if the earth itself had whispered a command. Eli followed the leash to the porch. That was when the door handle turned from the inside. If you're drawn to slow-burn thrillers with grounded characters and uneasy small-town secrets, staying close to the story, subscribing quietly, if you like, helps more of them find their way to you. The radio crackled once, then went silent. Eli didn't try to fix it. He'd already called in his position, already told dispatch he was following up on a disturbance. No, not a disturbance exactly, more like a feeling. Dispatch had paused, as if waiting for him to find a better word. None came. Ash tugged again, firm and purposeful. The dog's paws scuffed gravel that hadn't been disturbed since the last storm. Snow lay in drifts along the ditch, moonlight turning it to bone. Eli adjusted his grip on the leash and breathed through his nose. Wood smoke. Cold iron. Something else underneath. Old water, maybe. Or rot. Easy, he murmured. Ash didn't slow. Briar Hollow Road ended in a cul-de-sac that wasn't a cul-de-sac so much as a mistake, an attempt at development abandoned when the mill shut down. 3 houses had been built. 2 were lived in. The third stood apart, set back behind a stand of ash trees that had grown thin and sickly over the years. The house had no number. It had a name once. Eli remembered it the way you remember a rumor. The Lark House. Or maybe that was the woman who lived there. Ash pulled him up the cracked walkway. Leaves skittered across concrete. Eli's hand hovered near his holster without touching it. The porch boards creaked under Ash's weight, then under his own. He noticed the details the way training had taught him to notice. Scratches along the doorframe, shallow and numerous, a ring of rust where a wreath might have hung, the lock newer than the rest of the hardware. "Police," Eli said, not loud. He didn't want to wake the town. He wanted the town to stay asleep. Ash sat. The door handle turned. Not fast. Not jerky. It moved with deliberation, the latch whispering free. The door opened inward a few inches and stopped, caught on a chain that hadn't been there a second ago. A face appeared in the gap. Eli didn't reach for his gun. He couldn't. The face was familiar in the way old photographs are familiar, blurred by time but stubbornly specific. "Eli Mercer," the woman said. Her voice carried the husk of disuse, like a door long unopened. "You finally came." The porch light flicked on. Ash stood and leaned forward, nose working. He did not growl. That worried Eli more than a growl would have. "Ma'am," Eli said, finding his voice by habit. "Are you alive?" She smiled, small and tired. "That's what you were going to ask." The chain rattled as she slid it free. The door opened all the way. Warm air rolled out, thick with dust and something medicinal. Eli caught a glimpse of a hallway, narrow and deep, wallpaper yellowed into something like old teeth. "Step inside," she said. "It's cold out there." Eli stayed on the threshold. "Name?" She watched him a long moment. "You know my name." He did. It took a second to surface. "Mara Locke." "Still a good memory," she said. "That's rare. Ma'am, this property has been empty," she finished. "Unentered. Unlived. That's what they say. Has it not been?" Her smile faded. "Depends who you ask." Ash whined softly and took one step forward. The leash tightened. Eli glanced down, then back up. "Mara, I'm going to need you to come with you," she said. "No." Eli exhaled. The town had taught him patience the way water teaches stone. "We got a call," he said. "Light in the window. Movement. If you've been living here, you should have told someone." She stepped back and gestured down the hallway. "I told who I needed to tell." Eli weighed his options. Procedure argued for backup. Instinct argued for the opposite. If he called this in, it would become something else. Something loud. "Mara," he said, lowering his voice. "I need to make sure you're okay." Her gaze flicked to Ash. He already did. Eli hesitated, then crossed the threshold. The door closed behind him with a sound like a final thought. Inside, the house felt narrower than it looked. The air was warm but heavy, pressing in. Lamps glowed from corners, their shades stitched and mended. The furniture was old but cared for. No dust on the surfaces. No cobwebs in the corners. This wasn't abandonment. This was concealment. Ash moved ahead, nails clicking softly. He paused at a closed door halfway down the hall and sat again. Mara followed Eli's gaze. "Not yet," she said. "First things first." She led him into the kitchen. It smelled of broth and herbs. A kettle sat warm on the stove. On the table lay a stack of envelopes, neatly arranged. Eli caught a glimpse of names as he passed. Town names. Dates. "You've been here the whole time," Eli said. "Yes." "Why?" She poured tea into 2 mismatched mugs. "Because leaving would have been a mistake. For 10 years. For as long as it took." Eli accepted the mug without drinking. "Mara, you disappeared after the fire." Her hand stilled. "That's what they said." "The lock house burned," he said gently. "Your husband." "Wasn't my husband," she said. "And it didn't burn." Eli set the mug down. "We found remains." Her eyes met his, steady. "You found what you were meant to find." The room seemed to tilt. Eli's mind reached for training again, for the solid ground of facts. "You were declared dead." "I know. Do you know what that did to people?" She nodded once. "Yes." "Then explain to me why you stayed gone." Mara sat. The chair creaked. "Do you remember the winter after the mill closed?" He did. Everyone did. "Hard to forget." "You were new," she said. "Still believed the badge made you clean." Eli bristled despite himself. "I still do my job." "I know." She smiled faintly. "That's why you're here and not someone else." Ash rose and padded back into the hallway. He stopped at the closed door again. This time, he pawed at it. Mara closed her eyes. "Ma'am," Eli said. "What's in there?" "Truth," she said. "And a promise." Eli stood. "Open it." She looked up at him. For a moment, something like fear flickered. Then resolve hardened it. She rose and crossed the hall, keys jingling softly. Eli noticed her limp then, the way she favored her left leg. The door opened. The room beyond was small and windowless. Shelves lined the walls, stacked with boxes labeled in careful script. A cot sat in the corner. On the far wall hung photographs, dozens of them, arranged in rows. Eli stepped in and felt his stomach drop. The photographs were of people from the town. Candid shots. Men outside the bar. Women loading groceries. Kids at the bus stop. Some photos were old, edges yellowed. Others were recent. Too recent. "What is this?" Eli asked. "Evidence," Mara said quietly. "Of what?" She reached up and took down a photograph near the center. She handed it to him. It showed a man he knew well, Councilman Ray Holt, standing behind the mill offices, passing an envelope to someone out of frame. Eli swallowed. "You can't spy on people." "I didn't spy," she said. "I watched. For 10 years. For as long as they kept lying." Ash moved to the cot and sniffed. He pawed at a loose board beneath it. Eli crouched, heart pounding, and pried it up. Underneath lay a ledger. Eli opened it. Names. Dates. Amounts. Notes in the margins. His own name appeared once, circled, with a question mark beside it. "Mara," he said carefully. "This is dangerous." "Yes." "You're accusing powerful people." "I'm documenting them. You could get killed." She met his eyes. "I already did." A memory surfaced then, unbidden, the fire scene, the chaos, the way the wind had shifted. The remains they'd found were incomplete, unidentifiable. The relief and the unease that had lived together in his chest when the case was closed. "Why me?" Eli asked. Because you never took their money, she said. Because you still walk instead of drive when you can. Because your dog doesn't lie. Ash sat, gaze fixed on Eli, ears forward. There's more, Mara said. And it's why the door opened tonight. Eli looked back at the ledger. What opened it? She gestured toward Ash. He did. Eli frowned. Ash. He came here before, she said. Years ago. With another handler. The room went very quiet. Who? Eli asked. Mara hesitated. You trusted him. Eli felt something cold settle under his ribs. You're going to have to be more specific. Footsteps sounded on the porch outside. Heavy. Deliberate. Mara reached for the door and closed it softly. They found me, she said. Or maybe they found you. Eli's radio crackled back to life. Mercer, a voice said. Where are you? Eli recognized it instantly. Deputy Tom Hale. His former partner. The knock came once. Not loud. Not polite. It landed on the front door with the confidence of someone who believed they belonged on the other side of it. Eli didn't answer the radio. Mercer, Tom Hale said again, closer now. Dispatch says you're at the Lark place. That true? Mara's eyes flicked to the hallway, then back to Eli. If you open that door, she said quietly, you don't get to decide what happens next. Eli held the radio in his hand, thumb resting just shy of the transmit button. Tom's voice had changed over the years, thickened a little, smoothed around the edges, but there were things you didn't forget. The way he used questions like levers. The way he said your name like he was checking it for weight. Tom, Eli said into the radio. Stand by. There was a pause. Then a soft laugh through static. That's not how this works, partner. The word landed wrong. Partner belonged to another time. Another version of them. Ash moved to Eli's side and sat, shoulder brushing his shin. The dog's presence was grounding, solid. Eli bent and rested 2 fingers on the top of Ash's head, feeling the warmth there. 10 years, Eli said to Mara under his breath. You stayed hidden while things rotted. They were already rotten, she replied. I just kept the lights off so no one noticed. Another knock. Harder this time. Eli, Tom called through the door now. Open up. Eli looked at the ledger in his hands, at the names he'd known most of his adult life written in a script that didn't tremble. He thought of the circled question mark beside his own name. Why was my name there? He asked Mara. She didn't dodge it. Because trust is never permanent. The door handle rattled. Eli moved. He crossed the hallway and unlatched the door before Mara could stop him. The porch light spilled in, bleaching the shadows. Tom Hale stood there, hat pulled low, coat zipped up against the cold. Snow clung to his boots. His smile came easy. Well, I'll be damned, Tom said, eyes sliding past Eli into the house. Looks lived in. Eli stepped into the doorway, blocking the view. What do you want, Tom? Tom's smile thinned just a touch. Dispatch got a call. Anonymous. Said there was movement here. Figured I'd check it out. Alone. Tom shrugged. Didn't seem like a party. Ash appeared at Eli's side. Tom's gaze dropped to the dog, then lifted again. Something unreadable crossed his face. That your new partner? Tom asked. Eli said nothing. Mind if I come in? Tom asked, already shifting his weight forward. Yes, Eli said. I mind. Tom blinked, surprised. Then he chuckled. You always were stubborn. Behind Eli, a floorboard creaked. Tom's eyes flicked up. You got someone inside? Eli held his ground. Property owner. Tom raised an eyebrow. Is that so? Mara stepped into view then, slow and deliberate. The light caught her face fully for the first time. Tom froze. The smile drained from him. Well, Tom said softly. That's something. Hello, Tom, Mara said. You look healthy. Tom recovered quickly. Too quickly. Mara Lark, he said, like he was tasting it. You're supposed to be dead. I know, she said. You helped make sure of it. The air went tight. Tom laughed, but there was no humor in it. "That's a hell of an accusation." "You locked the back door," Mara said. "During the fire. I was still inside." Eli turned sharply. "Tom." Tom's eyes didn't leave Mara. "You said you were out," he said. "You said you had everything you needed." "I said I had what I could carry," Mara replied. "You said you'd clear the way." Tom's jaw flexed. "That was a long time ago." "So was your conscience," she said. Eli felt the ground shift beneath him. Memories rearranged themselves. Small things, things he dismissed at the time. Tom insisting on handling the scene alone. Tom pushing to close the case. Tom buying drinks for the councilman a week later. "Eli," Tom said, finally looking at him. "Step aside." "No," Eli said. Tom sighed, as if disappointed. "You always did pick the wrong hill." His hand moved. Ash reacted faster. The dog lunged, teeth snapping inches from Tom's wrist. Tom swore and stumbled back, hand flying to his gun. "Call him off," Tom shouted. Eli yanked the leash. "Ash, down." Ash dropped, muscles coiled, eyes locked on Tom. Tom's chest heaved. "You're making a mistake." "Leave," Eli said. "Now." Tom straightened slowly. His gaze flicked past Eli again, calculating. "This doesn't end here." "No," Mara said. "It ends tonight." Tom backed down the porch steps, never turning his back. "I'll be in touch," he said to Eli. "You always were easy to find." He walked to his cruiser, tires crunching on gravel. The engine turned over. Headlights flared, then swung away as he reversed. Silence settled in his wake, heavy and incomplete. Eli closed the door and leaned against it, breath shallow. "You should have told me." "Yes," Mara said. "I should have." "Why didn't you?" "Because you would have tried to fix it," she said. "And fixing it would have gotten you killed." Eli laughed once, harsh. "You don't get to decide that." She met his gaze. Neither did Tom. Ash paced the hallway, agitation rippling through him. "We can't stay here," Eli said. "He'll come back." "With a warrant." "With friends." "I know," Mara said. "That's why I called you." "You called me." She nodded. "The light. The movement. I knew Tom would hear about it. I needed him to show his hand." Eli stared at her. "You used me." "I trusted you," she said. "There's a difference." He wanted to argue. Wanted to deny the pull he felt toward the truth laid out in her quiet rooms. "Where do we go?" She gestured toward the ledger. "We go where this takes us." They didn't pack much. Mara moved through the house with practiced efficiency, selecting folders, photographs, flash drives Eli hadn't noticed before. Evidence layered upon evidence. Ash hovered close, alert. As they loaded the last box into Eli's cruiser, headlights appeared at the end of Briar Hollow Road. "Too fast," Eli muttered. Mara climbed into the back seat. "There's another way out," she said. "Through the old service road. Past the quarry." Eli swung the wheel and gunned the engine. Gravel spat behind them as they veered off the cul-de-sac and onto a narrow track choked with weeds. The cruiser bounced and rattled. Branches scraped the sides. The headlights behind them closed the distance. "Tom won't stop," Eli said. "I know," Mara replied. "That's why this has to hurt." The road narrowed, twisting through trees. Eli drove by instinct, memory guiding his hands. The quarry loomed ahead, a dark wound in the earth. "Brake lights," Mara said suddenly. "On the left." Eli saw it then, a parked truck, half hidden. A man stepped out, raising his phone. "Councilman Holt," Mara said. "Smile." Eli slammed the brakes. The cruiser skidded to a stop inches from Holt. The man stumbled back, face pale. "Eli," Holt said. "You don't understand." Ash barked, sharp and final. Headlights flared behind them. Tom's cruiser roared into view, blocking the road. Eli looked between the two men, then at Mara in the rearview mirror. Her expression was calm. "Ready. Do you trust me now?" she asked. Eli thought of the ledger, of the door opening, of the way Ash had chosen. "Yes," he said. "Good," she replied. "Then let's end this." The quarry wind carried voices strangely, flattened them, stretched them thin. Eli stepped out of the cruiser slowly, hands visible but not raised. The standoff had the unreal stillness of a photograph waiting to be taken. Councilman Ray Holt stood frozen in the headlights, coat unbuttoned, breath fogging. Behind them, Tom Hale killed his engine and got out, his silhouette long and sharp against the glare. "Everybody relax," Tom said. His voice was calm, practiced. "This doesn't need to turn into something messy." Holt swallowed. "Tom, what the hell is this?" Tom didn't look at him. "A misunderstanding." Mara opened the back door and stepped out. She leaned on the car for a moment, catching her balance, then straightened. The wind tugged at her hair. "You always were bad at endings," she said to Tom. Tom's eyes flicked to her. "You should have stayed dead." Eli felt Ash tense beside him, leash taut. He loosened his grip just enough. "Ray," Tom said, finally turning, "why don't you head back to your truck?" Holt stared at him. "You said this was handled." "It is," Tom replied. "Just not how you hoped." Holt's gaze snapped to Mara. Recognition bloomed into panic. "You kept records," Mara finished. "Of everything. You were sloppy." Tom sighed. "You see, Eli, this is what happens when people don't know when to stop digging." Eli shook his head. "You locked her in a burning house." Tom's jaw tightened. "I made a call." "You made a choice," Eli said. "And I kept this town afloat," Tom shot back. "You think the mill closing was an accident? You think the bribes were greed? They were survival." Mara laughed softly. "You always tell yourself a story where you're the hero." Tom's hand drifted toward his holster. "Last chance, Eli. Step away." Eli didn't move. Holt took a step back instead. "Tom, you said." The gunshot cracked the night open. Holt staggered, shock etched across his face before he collapsed onto the gravel. The sound echoed off quarry walls, coming back wrong and delayed. Mara flinched. Ash lunged, barking furiously. Tom lowered the gun, breathing hard. "I warned him." Eli felt something break cleanly inside his chest. Not shatter, not splinter. Break. A line crossed, irreversible. "Drop it," Eli said. Tom looked at him, really looked this time. "You won't shoot me." "No," Eli agreed. "But he will." Eli released the leash. Ash launched forward, a blur of motion and purpose. Tom fired once, wild. The bullet went wide. Ash hit him low, driving him to the ground. The gun skidded across the gravel. Eli was on him in seconds, knee in Tom's back, cuffs snapping shut around his wrists. Tom thrashed, then went still. Sirens wailed in the distance. Not one set. Many. Mara watched from beside the cruiser, eyes wet but unblinking. When it was over, when the quarry filled with flashing lights, when Holt was covered with a sheet, when Tom was led away shouting about loyalty and necessity, Eli stood alone for a moment, Ash pressed against his leg. The town didn't sleep that night. It woke up screaming. The fallout came fast. Arrests. Resignations. Headlines that tried to sound surprised. Eli gave statements until words lost meaning. Mara handed over everything she'd kept hidden for a decade. Some people called her a hero. Others called her a witch. She didn't seem to care. Weeks later, the Lark House stood open for the first time in 10 years. Sunlight filled rooms that had only known lamplight. Eli stopped by one afternoon. Ash bounded up the porch like he owned it. Mara met them at the door. "Door's staying open," she said. Eli nodded. "Good." They stood there a moment, quiet. "Do you regret it?" he asked. She thought, then shook her head. "Truth doesn't ask permission." Eli looked down the road, toward a town that would never quite be the same. "Neither does a good dog." Ash wagged his tail once, slow and satisfied. The house no longer waited.